Is Jurgen Klopp really going to take a year off in 2022? What are you going to be doing in the summer of 2022, Stevie?
No idea.
Do you think it's for real that he's actually considering it and it's part of his plan?
Yes and no. Yes, because I think it would make sense. Unless you've been in the job as a head coach, and certainly at the Premier League level and at the elite level, it's stressful. You know, you're responsible for everything. You're responsible for how the team plays. If they don't turn up, you're responsible for that. Your job is to get them playing. If you lose a game, you're responsible ultimately because you're the one that will get the sack if you lose too many, not the players. Mm. So there's a whole lot of different pressures that go with being the head coach, manager, whatever you want to call it. And everybody who's done it, there are times when it becomes too much and you need some sort of break, or you figure out how you can de-stress if you want. So on the face of it, it would seem like a sensible idea for Klopp. On the other hand, it would be a disaster for Liverpool.
Yeah. Because
you just can't turn around and say, look, I'm going to take a year off, because the only thing you know is your job's not going to be there in a year's time. And then of course, when you've got such a great manager as we do in Klopp, I mean, you're doing everything you can to make sure this guy stays and goes absolutely nowhere. So I think for Klopp, it's probably a good idea, you know, to relax for a bit and charge the batteries up and just, you know, calm down. But for Liverpool, I think it would be a disaster.
As you mentioned there, it poses a big problem because Jurgen Klopp himself has floated previously the idea that he would see out his whole career at Liverpool. And so the idea of taking a break in the middle, as you said, it's untenable in terms of you'd have to bring someone else in. Maybe that doesn't go well. Maybe, you know, every twist and turn, no one can predict the future.
I think we have to be very careful that, you know, when somebody's answering questions in a moment where their head's probably in the clouds or in cloud cuckoo land, basically, you know, with winning the Champions League and the season everybody's had, and, you know, players and coaches will say things, and how many times have you heard a player particularly saying, I want to spend the rest of my career here, and
right.
It never happens.
Right.
You know, and realistically, Jurgen Klopp's not going to be here like an Arsene Wenger or a Fergie. He's not. But the word 2022 just seems a little close for me. You know, if he'd said 25, 26, I'd be like, all right, that's fine. You know, that seems reasonable.
Right.
But 2022 seems a little close for my liking.
Well, that's the term of his contract at the moment, and who knows whether an extension is in the offing anyway.
Right.
And obviously these are just ideas, of course, and everything can change in the matter of what happens between now and then.
Right.
Do you think it would give him enough time? I mean, you say it's quite close. Would you give it enough time for him to have developed a style that Liverpool or a trophy collection that Liverpool would certainly say, well, that is a dynasty under Klopp that we can point to and say these 6 years, this changed the club again?
Well, there's no question that regardless, he's changed the whole mindset of the club. You know, yes, when you have the trophies to back that up, it's a lot easier to convince people. But there's no question he has transformed the club. Along with the owners, I think the owners deserve a lot of credit. You know, they've sorted the club out as far as the finances are concerned, so they can go and buy an Alisson or a Van Dijk. But you need somebody right at the top of that, and the head coach, to make all those good decisions pay off with trophies. And I don't think there's anybody else we'd want right now other than Jurgen Klopp.
And just finally, you know the culture obviously inside out. Just answer me this: does the notion of winning year after year, does that help you? Does it fuel the hunger to keep going for even more, or does it take such a toll on you where you say, you know what, at the end of this period, I do need a rest or a recharge, or I need to rethink where I want to do next?
As far as the coach is concerned, I would suggest that may be something that might happen. But as far as the players are concerned, they just want to keep winning.
Simple as that. So
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp at the moment has put a 3-year time date on maybe taking a sabbatical. But as we all know, things change very quickly, much quicker than that in football.
Yeah.